Back down again with Leesky. I'm about to make some cube steaks and I'm going to make homemade gravy with it. And I'm going to show y'all how to make the best green peas and also garlic mashed potatoes. I'm talking about in the game today. So I'm going to start off, I'm going to season these joints with some smokehouse maple season, garlic powder, and pepper. That's that smokehouse maple season, garlic powder, and pepper, which I'm going to put on these cube steaks right now. Don't be scared with this garlic powder. Garlic powder is my favorite season. You can't go wrong because you ain't using nothing with no salt. I'll add some of this smokehouse maple season, which you got to be careful with because they do have salt. And you don't want nothing too salty. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to show y'all how I fix mine. I add some fresh pepper. I add flour to mine. And I'm going to add olive oil to the skillet. And I'm going to fry it for 2.5 minutes on each side. And when I sit and I do that, when I do make my homemade gravy, what I do is I let it cook in there for another maybe 15 minutes top because, you know, I want it to be tender and it's going to finish doing what it's supposed to do by sitting cooking in the gravy the way it do. You already know the next session is foreplay, always on the meat. You always got to get a little foreplay. Just like with your woman, you know, you sit, you give a little foreplay, you're going to get the best results you're supposed to get. Same thing with your food. Foreplay. And now I'm going to batter them joints in some flour. Now my next move is, I'm going to put me some olive oil in the skillet. You always make your next move your best move. And I'm going to get ready and I'm finna bread these cube steaks up in some flour. And when you do that there, you fry it like you're supposed to fry it. You know, the crust and all that's left afterwards, that's which is a roux. That's what I'm going to use to make the homemade gravy with. Here we go. I don't cook mine in the oven. I'm old school with mine. I go with the flour. And I sit and I make it that way. And then when I sit and I prepare everything, the crust that's left, you know, in the skillet, which is the roux, that's what you want. I'm going to make the homemade gravy with it. But instead of using water to make a homemade gravy today, I'm using broth. Broth, you can't go wrong with it. It's the best in the game, Jack. And I'm finna show y'all how I sit and I put it together with the mashed potatoes and gravy and the sweet peas that I make. This sweet pea gimmick, I've been up on this, man, for over 35 years. This is the best way to eat sweet peas if you like them. Now I'm about to give y'all a little game with the sweet peas. If you don't know, now you know. What you use about a teaspoon of cinnamon. Man, look here. I tried this for the first time 35 years ago and I ain't never tasted no sweet peas that taste this good in my life. 2 teaspoons of sugar. I'm going to take a quarter piece of butter and add into it. And when they do complete, I'm going to add some cheese, which I'm going to use mozzarella cheese, but you can use any kind of cheese, whichever ones you like to use. But just do what I'm telling you, which is with the cinnamon, the butter, the sugar, and you ain't going to taste nothing that tastes like this here. Now also, with this cube steak, what you want is for it to cook 2.5 minutes on each side. 2.5 minutes. And after 2.5 minutes of it cooking like this here, when it's finished cooking all the way, it's going to be inside that homemade gravy, and I'm going to let it sit and cook like that for about 15 minutes when I prepare that gravy. Now I'm also gonna make some mashed potatoes. And the way I make the mashed potatoes, I'm finna give y'all the game with the mashed potatoes too, which is the best way to do it. I take a half a stick of butter, or a little less than half a stick of butter. I melt it into a liquid form, and then I add some garlic powder. Puts about, it depends on how much mashed potatoes you have. I'm gonna say about a teaspoon and a half of garlic powder. I stir it up and I pour that into the mashed potatoes, which I make garlic mashed potatoes. And then I add some oregano on top of the potatoes. I'm telling y'all, man, the game I'm getting y'all with this lick here, you can't go wrong. Pay me some attention and don't look past me. Now what I do with the mashed potatoes is I melted a half a stick of mashed potatoes and I put a teaspoon of butter in there. Not teaspoon of butter, I'm sorry. A half a thing of butter and a teaspoon of garlic powder to make garlic mashed potatoes. And I'm also going to add oregano to the mashed potatoes. See what's left in that skillet from the cube steak? This is what you want. That's what's going to make the roux. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these green peppers and onions to the joint. And I'm going to let them cook a little bit. And then I'm going to add some broth. You can use chicken broth, you can use beef broth, whichever one you choose. And that's what you're going to do when you prepare this homemade gravy. And when I do prepare homemade gravy, I'm also add garlic powder, and I'm going to add just a little bit of the smokehouse seasoning to it. You don't want it salty, because the meat that you already done seasoned, when you turn that over to the gravy, it's going to add whatever you're missing. If you feel like you're missing, it's not enough season, that meat just cooking together with that gravy is going to marinate in it together, and it's going to perfect it like it's supposed to be. Now I'm about to add that broth to it. Now I'm going to get ready to make that homemade gravy. And what I do is, to thicken it, people be thinking heavy cream do it. Heavy cream don't do it like flour with a little water or cornstarch with a little water. As you can see, I just put a little bit right there, that much right there, flour and water. And I'm gonna mix that basically like a pancake batter, and that's what I'm gonna use to thicken that gravy when I want to get to where I want to get to, where it do the you did. Now this is what I'm looking for. You see the color that it's starting to change? Which I just added the broth to it. And I'm going to add some garlic powder. Don't be scared, it ain't nothing but garlic powder. And I'm going to add a little bit of this smokehouse maple seasoning. Just a little bit. I don't want it to be salty. Like I say, if it do need some more season, when I sit and I take the meat over to it and it cook and it marinates in there with it, it's going to perfect it. Where you don't have to add nothing else. The meat is going to do the rest. Now that gravy is starting to thicken up like I want it to thicken up. Just give me about 2 more minutes. It's going to get even thicker. And then I'm going to sit and I'm going to generate that meat over to there, and I'm going to let that meat cook for about 15 minutes in that slow cooking in that gravy. I'm talking about Bill Long. About 15 minutes of this here, cooking like this here, and I'm talking about perfection. Perfection is the word, yeah. Now that joint is completed, I'm going to add some of it on the plate and let you see what it's looking like. Voila, that's it there, baby. That's it. Homemade gravy, cube steaks, mashed potatoes, sweet peas. I'm talking about this did my way, baby. Nobody's way but my way. Subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up if you like what you see. Leave some comments. I want y'all to stay blessed as usual. I'm gonna holler at y'all next time. Y'all already know how to get on self do it. You did.